Chattin 88. Welcome to Chattin 88. If you're just tuning in, hey, that's great. Oh, every single week we have a guest. Oh, yeah, 'cause spending time with me. I said spending time with me. I said spending time with me. Oh, is the best. Oh, welcome everybody to Chattin 88. I am your host, Curtis LaBelle, and let me tell you what a day it's been. It has been an absolutely exciting day. You know what today is? Today is my birthday. Yes, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am or how young I am, but I know that I have been given lots of love from everybody here at Chattin 88 and from around the world, actually. So thank you so much for all of your lovely birthday wishes. It has been an amazing day, and I can't think of a better gift than to be able to bring Chattin 88s to you here on March 24th, my birthday. So thank you for all of your lovely birthday wishes. It has been a beautiful day, and we have an amazing guest here tonight, Rob Laidlaw from the eastern part of the country here in Canada. Some of you may know him. I know that we've had a lot of people interested in finding out who this gentleman is and what exactly he has done with his extensive career. He's been a hired gun for a lot of great artists across the country, so we're going to talk about that. But something else that's really exciting is the song that I'm going to sing for you. Oh, yes, this song. I have sung it before. This is an original of mine. Of course, everything we do here on Chattin 88 is original, just like what I'm playing right now. Blue Dream. Take you away, flag fly, freaky here to stay. Space between the blinking light, saw you walking in the dead of night. Oh, you're the tear that's keeping me here. Take everything and kill my heartstring, 'cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? 'Cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? I'm in love. I'm in love. Saw you walking in the morning, knew that my heart skipped. It was a warning. Oh, only you. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, you're the tear that's keeping me here. Take everything to kill my heartstring, 'cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? 'Cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? 'Cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? I'm in love. I'm in love. Oh, you're the tear that's keeping me here. Take everything, you kill my heartstring, 'cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? 'Cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? Oh yeah, 'cause I'm giving it all to you. Can't you see I'm in love? absolutely. I am so in love. And you know, one of the things that I mean, what am I trying to say? As an artist, as a musician, as a husband, as a lover, as a friend, I think all we have right now is love, especially with times right now. And find love, be with love, and share your love. Thank you for allowing me to sing that to you. And again, here at Chattin 88s, we take pride in presenting original Canadian content. And, you know, I have learned so much working on Chattin 88s and bringing this show to you. With the team that we have so much happening behind the scenes, and I couldn't do it without them. And one of the great artists that we have that we are going to be talking to tonight, Rob Laidlaw, he's waiting patiently here on the interview. We're going to bring him in a second. This gentleman has, you know, he's worked with some great artists, such as Alannis Morrisette, Alannah Myles. He's got some stories to tell you, and I'm really super excited to find the dish and to really talk with this gentleman. And what a great pleasure it is for me to introduce Rob Laidlaw. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the love for Rob Laidlaw. Please welcome him. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Rob Laidlaw. There he is. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to Chattin 88. How are you, Rob?
I am awesome, Curtis. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome, my friend. You're looking great. Everything, you know, I cannot believe just some of the things that I have learned about you over this last little while, you know, doing my research. We have the team booking guests and all this, and then they send the information to me and like, this is your guest and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy has got some accolades to his name. But not only that, we just really want to kind of get to know who you are. So welcome to Chattin 88s, where we're just going to spill the dish and have a great time getting to know each other and letting our viewers get to know you as well. So Rob, why don't you tell us where you're from? Where are you, my friend? Where are you living?
I'm actually coming from my friend Turbo, the tech nerd, his studio in Curtis, Ontario. But I live in Brooklyn, Ontario, and I was born and raised in downtown Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, I lived in Kensington Market in Toronto at one point in my life.
Yeah, awesome. I shopped there when I was a teenager.
Oh, very exciting. Rob, I have to say, you know, you are a very special guest for us here on Chattin 88s tonight. Tonight is our 29th show.
Congrats.
And I cannot think of a better way to step into our 30th show with our guest next week. How long have you been doing music, my friend? I know that's such an open-ended question, but when did you kind of start deciding like, hey, this is kind of the path I want to go down before you decided to make it a career?
Well, I mean, I started playing. So I'm 56 years old, and I started playing the guitar when I was 13, picked it up when I was 13. By the time I was 15, I was professionally playing in bars around Toronto, sort of in the early 80s. By the time I was 19, I was signed to a major record deal. And then, I mean, it snowballed from there. So, you know, I started the, you know, sort of the traditional way, learned how to play guitar, but started songwriting at a very early age. So songwriting was always a meaningful part of my journey. And so, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I've been professionally in the music business for 40 years, actually. Wow. I mean, that actually just kind of hit me like a train.
Quite a pill to swallow, right?
Well, it is quite an old bogue you've got on your 29th show. Yeah.
Well, you know what, old bogue. Well, my friend, you're still at 56. You're still very young, and you have many years ahead of you. Of course, living the musician life can be hard on the body, and especially with who we work with in this industry and how we approach it. You've worked with some major names, but let's just jump back to 13. What was it like for you whenever you started playing at 13? How was that experience for you, picking up that instrument and kind of like, developing some sort of intuition and skill towards music?
Well, the very first song I learned how to play, and I learned how to play it note for note, was "Stairway to Heaven," and by Led Zeppelin, and I kind of fell in love with the instrument at that point. So I was going into grade 9 at the time, and so I'm serious. I mastered "Stairway to Heaven," and that was about it.
Right on, right on.
Yeah, that was about it. So I remember going to sort of the first few weeks of high school, going to a party, and there was a guitar there, and people were saying, "Hey man, can you play?" And I literally picked it up. I played "Stairway to Heaven" verbatim, and they said, "Awesome, play something else." And I played "Stairway to Heaven" verbatim yet again. So clearly I had to expand my repertoire. And at that point, I remember asking my mother if I could take guitar lessons. And that was really the beginning of the journey, right? I mean, I learned all the chords, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the sharps and flats. And, but again, the songwriting was really sort of something that, I mean, it's sort of unique to all of us, right? Like creatively, there's only one Curtis Wired. There's only one Curtis Wired the way you are, only one Rob Wired the way I am, and all the young artists out there. So, that truly is the unique differentiating factor between bands, between artists, and that is their the creative intelligence that we sort of all contain, and then how it flows through us and we compose. That was something very early on in my career. By the time I was 14, 15, I was in a young band, new wave band at the time, and I sort of fell into the role of primary songwriter. So that was the beginning for me.
Right on. That is absolutely fantastic. What question for you? Did you at Steve's Music Shop in Toronto? Did you play "Stairway to Heaven" there?
I probably did. Yes, certainly. Most people that have come through, playing guitar has played at Steve's on a Saturday morning. And "Stairway to Heaven" is invariably the song you'll hear for sure. Yeah.
Nice. I'm laughing because one of our cinematographers and sound technician in the back thought that he recognized you. He's from out east in that area, and he thought he recognized you earlier. And then as soon as you said "Stairway to Heaven," he pinpointed exactly where he had maybe seen you perform that song.
Wow.
So, it's a small, small world, as they say.
It certainly is.
Let's fast forward. So you are now, you're in your early 20s, and you're like, I'm rocking this world. I'm playing the guitar. I'm doing what I need to do. When did you kind of decide that this was going to be a professional gig for you and no longer a hobby, and be like, I'm going to take this seriously? I mean, you've been doing music for 40 years. What was that like for you to realize, I'm either going to take this seriously or I'm just simply not going to, follow through with this dream?
Well, you know what? There was a lot of really good luck, and in my early part of my career, and in my sort of mid to late teens, around 17, I was playing with 2 other songwriters. We were demoing songs. So we were primarily just writing songs and demoing them. We sent the demo out. Management started asking to see the band live. And essentially it was a singer and myself playing guitar and another guitar player. And I ended up playing bass on the demos just because it was, functional, and we needed to orchestrate the songs in such a way. We were using drum machines at the time, and management companies actually approached us and said, we want to see you guys play live. We love the demo. So I ended up at that point in time playing bass guitar, and that was the beginning of what has become my primary professional instrument, and that is the 4-string bass guitar. And within about a year. So I realized that I needed to really sort of bear down and learn the instrument. So I actually woodshedded quite substantially on the bass guitar in the first year that I was playing it. And we started opening for larger bands. And I had an opportunity where one of the singers said, you know, dude, I really like the way you play the bass, which at the time was merely to articulate the songs that I was writing in this other band. And he asked me to play bass on his recording. And this guy actually had a deal with A&M Records at the time. So I'm like 18 years old playing on a record for a guy who had a real deal. And then that within a year, it really happened quickly. Within a year, we were doing huge shows, like opening for Stevie Ray Vaughan across Canada, opening for Elton John, huge shows. And then I literally was approached by the singer from Platinum Blonde and the management company for a band called New Regime. And at the time, Mark Holmes from Platinum Blonde offered me the opportunity to play in that band, and New Regime offered me the opportunity to play in that band. But New Regime's offer was a little sweeter because they were offering songwriting, whereas Platinum Blonde, Mark was the primary writer, and the record was already recorded and ready to go. So, I mean, again, everything in life, we take a chance, and I made a choice to go with New Regime that had a major record deal, but also offered me the opportunity to songwrite because, as you know, songwriting is the lifeblood of this industry, right? It literally, 100%. From generation to generation, it's what perpetuates, you know, the music industry. And I mean, songwriting really is such a and songs, period, is such a transcendent language in our world, right? Like it really, it's the most universal language, I would say, that exists.
You know what, I agree. And I think when, you know, the music industry will definitely die, in my opinion, whenever we have songwriting and when songwriting diminishes and no longer exists. And I think it's our duty and our responsibility as artists to keep that medium alive. And, you know, it's nice that we have covers and we have all of these great artists that do cover bands and things like that. Again, very valuable because we need, I think in my opinion, it's important for us to, you know, make sure that we can keep those greats alive and all those wonderful, those moments right on the table for us or on a record, you know, that's coming back, and LPs are a hot thing. Songwriting has been a major part of your life, and I know producing as well. And we have a song that you had sent to us that we're going to play. But before we do that, Rob, tell us a little bit about this experience with this other Canadian artist and what it's been like for you to produce as an industry artist professional, and how that kind of evolved into your life, and a bit about the song before we go ahead and play that.
Okay. Well, just real quickly, from a songwriting perspective, at a young age, realized how valuable an asset that was to have in any given band. So after the band that I was in, New Regime, we lost our record deal, sadly. And I found myself being approached by a number of bigger Canadian recording artists to play bass on their tours and or on their records as well. So whenever, and I'll use Lee Aaron as the first example, because that was sort of a great example of where I had played. I was performing as her bass player. The tour came to an end. Karen, the singer, and her co-writer John asked me to play on their record, sing on their record, the follow-up record, and also there was the opportunity to do some songwriting with them as well. So every project that I've worked with as a journeyman, like a bass player, I've always tried to throw my hat in the ring of the co-songwriting world, because I always had the attitude of, well, you never know, right? You don't know unless you ask. And so it was songwriting was always a major component in my professional performing career as well. when I came off the road in 1998, and session work was a big part of it too. When I came off the road in 1998, found myself doing a session. You and I had talked about this off camera. This was what led to my JUNO Songwriter of the Year nomination. I was producing a young artist who,
Right.
yeah, who literally, and this will parlay into talking about Ryan Connelly, the track that we're going to play, who's an amazing up and coming country artist in Canada right now. Really talented singer songwriter in his own right, but just he literally feels the music and feels it. Just I've never seen such an authentic, deep artist. And anyway, I managed to bring this artist at the time from inception, meaning writing the songs, to performing, to winning some contests, to bringing management and labels to her. She got signed. I ended up producing the CD, and then we ended up having 3 top 10 singles that summer. Did a bunch of really meaningful shows. She had Bare Naked Ladies management. So essentially, all through my career, I've sort of included songwriting, and then producing became, so it was sort of the natural, so I'd be in the studio recording the song with the artist, and then I'd always have ideas because I'd had a decade of working with some of the biggest Canadian artists. And it's always a remarkable thing when you're standing on stage performing that song you've heard on the radio 1,000 times with the singer that actually performed it, co-wrote it in whatever capacity, Kim Mitchell, Alannah Myles, all like tons of artists, Honeymoon Suite. And you say, for instance, you're playing a 3-month tour. You're playing these songs, these hit songs over and over every night. And it literally leaks into your subconscious, the formula of what makes up a really good song. So when I went to produce and co-write with other artists, it was an intuitive, unconscious awareness that I now had, and was able to impart to the younger artists that I was working with. So Ryan, I met him literally a year and a change ago. He hired me to be his musical director for a few shows. At the end of the last show, he said, "Rob, I really like your initiative. I like your energy. Why don't we try?" Because he had put out an EP 4 years ago. Why don't we try writing a few songs? And so that it really happened that organically. We sat down in my little studio and we wrote a few songs and realized that the integrity and the flow was just undeniable. And so I said to Ryan, I said, incidentally, I'm producing at this point in my career, Curtis. I've got hundreds of indie productions under my belt, but I also have a number of professional, well-known bands that I've produced as well. The last Platinum Blonde CD I produced 2 CDs for Honeymoon Suite. The lead singer for Honeymoon Suite produced his solo CD. So I'm pretty well versed at doing what I do, and I'm very efficient. So that also helps on a number of levels too. It saves time, saves money, and I always like to say, and it's not my own phrase. It's actually a Tom Petty phrase, who was the king of getting to the chorus. Don't bore us, get to the chorus, and just literally.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and literally just consolidating all my years of performance, songwriting, and production, and that's what you're about to hear right now with Ryan Connelly.
You know what? We were really great to have that track. We were listening to it in the studio here, and it is well done. We really enjoyed it, and I know we'll all hear it here. You have such an well, we'll just let everybody hear it, and we'll chat more after it. But what I'm going to get you to do, if you can mute your microphone,
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
sound, and then that way we're able to control. Being the fact that we're on Zoom, of course, technology with what it is. But if you mute, treat for you, have a listen, my friends.
Riding this town like a night train on the highway. I'm gonna do things my way. Running tattoos on this town as I'm driving around, as I'm burning it down, just like I'm Jason Aldean. Just like I'm Jason Aldean. Riding down this highway. Never felt on my way till I took off in the Z28, American made, 500 horses on an open terrain. I popped the clutch and I slammed the gas. I'm going nowhere but somewhere fast. 6 gears of freedom, baby, don't make it last. Yeah, Amarillo skies and asphalt. Riding this town like a night train on the highway. I'm gonna do things my way. Running tattoos on this town as I'm driving around, as I'm burning it down. And this little country town, feeling like a freight train in the right lane. Metal man, you ought to hear the engine sing. You're over there in the passenger seat and you're howling out at me, just like I'm Jason Aldean. Baby, got a wild side. I'll put the pedal to the metal while I'm looking you in the eye. I'm in a straight line to the neon lights. I'm drinking and smoking and smoking and drinking. When them lights go down, we'll be falling around and drinking them down and falling around and drinking them down and falling around and drinking them down. Cause Jason Aldean, yeah, it's coming to town. Right this town like a night train on the highway. I'm gonna do things my way. Running tattoos on this town as I'm driving around, as I'm burning it down in this little country town. Feeling like a freight train in the right lane. Pedal to the metal, man, you ought to hear the engine sing. You're over there in the passenger seat and you're howling out at me, just like I'm Jason Aldean.
Like I'm Jason Aldean, got a tour bus packed full of girls with tight jeans. Ay, and she down for the team, and my band got band, she wanna dance to entertain. Alligator on my head and my boots, fits the truth. Told her call me Crocodile Dundee. In the parking lot, got a whole bunch of sports cars and the neon lights. She gon' show them double D's. Ay, just like I'm Jason Aldean.
Riding this town like a night train on the highway. I'm gonna do things my way. Running tattoos on this town as I'm driving around, as I'm burning it down in this little country town. Feeling like a freight train in the right lane. Pedal to the metal, man, you ought to hear the engine sing. You're over there in the passenger seat and you're howling out at me. We back on a big town, nothing town. Blasting down that Johnny Cash, no looking back. Wheels rolling, high rolling. Come on, kick it, just like I'm Jason Aldean.
Round of applause. Absolutely amazing. Great song. Thank you so much, Rob, for sharing that with us. And we really appreciate being able to share that with everybody. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's break that down. You know, I've spoken to a lot of artists in the sense that, and a lot of songwriters and a lot of producers, and there's really quite the synergy and the connection between songwriting and producing. I mean, they are one and the same. And I mean, sometimes if we look at the end of things when it comes to filmmaking, if you will, that, you know, sometimes if you luck out, if your cinematographer and your film camera operator is also going to be editing the film. So as a producer and as a songwriter, whenever you're working on a project, now let's not talk about co-writing. Let's just first talk about as a solo project for yourself. What are some of the elements that you're paying attention to when you're juggling? Okay, I'm writing this song. It's a 1-4-5-1 chord progression or a 6-2-7-5, whatever it is that you pick. What elements are you making sure that you pay attention to whenever you go from songwriting into the production side of things to make sure that you are capturing what it is as a songwriter that you wanted to make sure that you are capturing?
Okay, well, yeah, that's a very succinct and good question. Basically, I pay attention. I'm very hyper aware of what the artist listens to, what their influences are. So just quickly, as an example, Ryan That was a bit of homage to the singer Jason Aldean, who's a huge country star in his own right. Ryan loves, sort of contemporary country right now. So over the years, I've worked with some of the best Canadian country artists that are kicking around. I haven't in the last decade, but Jason McCoy, Beverly Mahood, Gil Grand. About 15 years ago, I found myself, and I don't recall exactly why but I found myself doing a lot of country music. So again, being sort of open to the universe of the universal language being music, I just sort of absorbed it. And working with Ryan, I would listen to a great deal of country music, listen to what sonically was the standard. And then, when all's said and done, though, I mean, building a track is like building anything foundational that literally has a solid foundation.
Right.
You build the walls, you build the roof. If you want to use, say building a house as a metaphor for producing a track, right? The foundation being the drums and the bass, the walls being the harmonic information, being keyboards, guitars, and then the roof being the vocal, right? That holds everything together, that shields and protects and also delivers the message of whatever the song is. I sort of strayed from the house metaphor incidentally, but anyway.
No, it's all good.
Fundamentally, with whatever artists, for instance, I'm working with an artist from Timmins right now as well, Lisa Frama, and she is very much like I would sort of throw her in the new Amanda Marshall category. I remember Amanda Marshall from 15, 20 years ago, an amazing Canadian artist. So she's sort of got that pop sensibility, but a real soulful vibe as well. So, I would reference, first and foremost, I'd always ask the artist who their influences are, who they really love, because I may be the producer, meaning I take the project, the song from A to Z, but the artist fundamentally is always kind of like the executive producer, because at the end of the day, that's where they hang their hat. They become that brand, right? Lisa, yep. Ryan, they become that brand. And you think of any of the artists that I've worked with over the years, their brand is what they deliver to the world and what their song and their songwriting becomes alloyed to, right? Let's take Kim Mitchell as an example. He's an individual who has had a 50-year career in the Canadian music industry, and undeniably his songs have seen oodles and oodles of airplay. They're part of the pantheon of our each decade. Growing up, he's impacted the Canadian music industry indelibly. So basically, producing a song, though, fundamentally, it ain't rocket science. But there's a definite method to getting it from A to Z, as I say. And I've had the good fortune of working with some really talented people, continuing to and always looking for up and coming artists. I'm working with about 5 right now that really excited about their futures, and their enthusiasm is infectious. I mean, it literally, I've always said, there have been years where I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's years that I've made not hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I'll tell you that feeling that you get when you write a song that just has that flow, right? Like it's that state of.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like when a professional athlete is in the zone, right? We hear that, we've heard that for years, right? It's the same with writing a good song. You're in the zone, all, sort of the proximal competence has been reached at that moment. And it's super exciting when you do that with another individual in a co-writing scenario, because it is, it's sort of that uniquely unrepeatable experience, right?
It is.
Yeah.
You've had your hand and in so many different experiences and have touched so many different other artists' lives and working with them. When it comes to you doing just kind of a solo project, Where do you take yourself on a journey as an artist to just be able to focus on that one thing and to create that product? I mean, it's from A to Z, like you say yourself. Trust the process. A lot of artists have said what's best for the song, what's best for the artist. I don't know if that artist is going anywhere when they say that. However, what, for your experience, when it comes to just as a solo artist, and you're let's say you're at home, you're by yourself, you're writing, or or for example, you have a lovely lady in the background. Who's our lovely guest in the background with you right now?
She's actually her name's Christine Denty, and she's a very, very skilled real estate agent out in Durham region. So if you need any a shameless self-promotion, but she's also remarkable. She has a remarkable aesthetic, and
Oshawa rules, my friend.
There you go. Well, and Christine Denty is the person to discuss home buying and or selling. Anyway, she also has a great aesthetic, as I say, for video, and can edit, but has great ideas. So she actually, I believe you saw the Pretty Mess. I'm going to be playing that song, Pretty Mess. She actually filmed and directed and did the storyboard for that video for me. So truth be told, I literally just write songs primarily. And I often write songs for artists that I produce too. Being a solo artist, I'll just be candid, is a very new thing for me personally, because I literally have spent my entire career as a team player, working to bolster, to help launch. I've just, truth be told, I've always found that there's a certain amount of creative freedom, being able to sort of vacillate between different, working with different artists, different projects. And I'm not alloyed to any one brand per se. And I've found it's been able to sustain a career in the music industry. Because as you know, Curtis, anything creative, you're in the top 0.001% of humans that have the the pleasure, the honor of being able to do that for a living, because it is a very, very difficult pursuit. And it's very individualistic. Like you literally, like we're all familiar with a can of Coke. It's a brand that literally has impacted the planet for the last 5 decades. When you become an artist singularly, you become that can of Coke, and you want to talk about massive risk, massive risk. So, to a degree, I've done what I do, as, survival, really, and I'm being transparent about that, right? It's allowed me to perform, with virtually every major Canadian artist that has hit the planet in the last 4 decades, and some U.S. artists. But it's also allowed me to co-write with numerous people, and then have the freedom to, once I've done a project, invariably it leads to another project, and I do my absolute best effort and put my best work into every project that I engage in, and help to launch that brand for the individuals. But it's very, from Christine's motivation for me to actually try do it. We're working on another video right now, as a matter of fact. So the artistry has always been more about the songwriting and the creative intelligence for me, and imparting that, and also, spirituality, in my perspective, is connectivity, and there's nothing that I've experienced in terms of connecting with people more than collaboration. So
I 100% agree with you on the spiritual side of things when it comes to music. And I think collaboration is key. And a lot of artists nowadays, well, I shouldn't say nowadays, but I know that it's been a lot of, and I speak for a lot of artists, I guess, because I've spoken to them physically, that they think that it needs to be just one entity. And that, unfortunately, I think is incorrect. And I agree with you when it comes to the connection and the collaboration. And, you know, you said it yourself, Rob, that it leads from one thing to the next, from one thing to the next, and you never know who you're going to be working with. You never know who's going to be in your side of the ring, or what you discover, what you learn, and what you educate. And I think the education side of things, when it comes to an artist being able to grow and adapt and work with other artists and being open and being willing to sacrifice, and that's a really big word in the music industry, is willing to sacrifice something for something, especially to be able to get ahead. And you said it yourself. It's a hard market. It's a hard. It's challenging, and you have to put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. I know I do. I can say that you do, and I know I probably speak for all artists that take it professionally and run it as a business, and especially if they're running as a brand. What is your brand nowadays? It's you know, a lot of managers and a lot of label, if we talk about the label industry, which that's a whole other conversation, but nowadays, you know, the indie label, the artist is the brand, the artist is the label, the artist is the producer, the artist is the manager, they are the marketer. They have to have all of that stuff in place nowadays, simply because you're not going to be signing a contract with a lawyer like you did back in the 90s or the early 2000s to do that. So it is even that much more harder to get ahead, but connection is key. I absolutely agree. Rob, why don't you take us into your next song that you're going to sing for us? I know you have to do a couple of adjustments, so if you start doing that, then I can even kind of talk about one of the segments that we have going on. So, which actually kind of works with Christine in the background, which is why I'm really glad that we talked about her. So why don't you get yourself set up there, Rob?
Okay.
You can hit mute or whatever you need to do, and I'll just keep talking here as we go, and we'll worry about that. Okay. So I'll let you do that. One of the segments that we have coming up in the future is going to be actually the marketing side of things for what indie artists now, what they have to do. For example, their branding. What are they doing when it comes to music videos? And, you know, I know that's something that Rob was just saying and introduced to Christine, that, you know, she works on the visual media side of things and being able to produce a bunch of different, what is the artist in finding, you know, their brand inside and out. And we're really excited to be able to have that as a segment coming up. We have Rob back, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to be singing an original song for us and going to be playing. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about it. Two sentences here and there, and then take it away, my friend.
Okay, it's a song about called "Pretty Mess," and Christina and I did a video for it, and yeah, it was a heck of a lot of fun. And I wrote this song about 4 years ago. And it goes a little like this. Don't go solely by the expression on my face. My whole world changed, but I'm glad you're here with what's his head, 'cause I'll exercise restraint. I'm all the things you ain't. You're hypnotized, it's no surprise, good luck with that. I must confess, you're such a pretty mess. Empty promises and heartache, a girl in distress. I must confess, you're such a pretty mess. We hit the wall, a stupid call, P.S. You're pretty messed. Before I met you, my world was dry like toast. A hard luck trading post. Happy maidens boast they left me. What was I thinking? Inflicted so much pain. Now you're gone and I moved on. Good luck with that game. I must confess, you're such a pretty mess, empty promises and heartache. A girl in distress, I must confess. You're such a pretty mess. We hit the wall, a stupid call, P.S. You pretty mess. Don't go slowly, you can read it in my face. My whole world changed. I'm glad you're here with what's his name. Won't play that game, it's not my thing. Solely by the expression on my face, my whole world changed. But I'm glad you're here with what's his beak. I must confess, you're such a pretty mess, empty promises and heartache. A girl in distress, I must confess, you're such a pretty mess. We hit the wall, a stupid call. We hit the wall, a stupid call. You're a pretty mess. Pretty mess.
Prime, my friend, absolutely prime. And what a pleasure it is to see you play the instrument itself, have that raw vulnerability with your voice, and just share with us kind of that raw Laidlaw sit back, toe tapping tune. So thank you for that. Absolutely a pleasure, treat. You know, quite the end of the spectrum is going from a produced experience to what you just did there. Oh my goodness gracious. I truly just want to sit and talk with you personally for hours on end. And I probably might give you a chat later on after this interview is over and pick your brain. I have a single coming out on Friday.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I actually kind of would like to get your laid on your ears and see what you have to hear about it or say about it and all that sort of thing. And just, pick your brain and get to know you more. You have
absolutely.
You'll have a lot of experience, and again, the connection is key and education is key. Speaking of education, Rob, we're coming to the end of the show here. So really quickly, two things. One, where can we follow you on social media if people wanted to get a hold of you and ask you and pick your brain for more information or listen to the music or just find you online? Where can we find you?
Well, you can find me at my website, which is robertlaiddlawmusic.com. And you can literally, on the website, I've got all the links to Facebook, Instagram, and my YouTube channel. So that's probably your best tool to find me. And again, it's robertlaiddlawmusic.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that we share that as well. And we'll give a shout out and keep promoting the artists you've worked with, as well as the new up and coming performers and artists in the industry that you've been working with. Education. We have a lot of up and coming singer-songwriters that are starting new parts in their life here. What is a short piece of advice that's meaningful to you that you've experienced in this world that you can share with anybody who is wanting to be an up and coming singer-songwriter and maybe 13 picking up a guitar for the first time going, hey, I dig this. I've learned Stairway to Heaven. What is my next step?
Immediately learn more songs because
of course.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what's so sort of amazing about the times that we're living in right now is that this very medium, social media and being able to at our fingertips, YouTube, as we're all aware of, is I truly believe is going to be the educational tool of the future, and certainly, in the times we find ourselves in right now in the pandemic, where we are, going between, well, pretty much indoors, most of the time, the last year for sure. And we have access to an amazing world. I mean, I've always said that YouTube is like the Gutenberg press of 100 years ago, for God's sakes, right? Like you can literally find whatever it is you're looking for.
I'm convinced I have a Harvard University degree because
I've
learned so much on YouTube.
Absolutely. And you can also promote. And actually, my friend here, whose studio I'm at, Turbo, the Tech Nerd, is quite adept and well versed in the YouTube world. He's got his a channel that's starting to do very well.
He's done an absolute amazing job. Props to him. Thank you for all his hard work tonight. He's done a fabulous job.
He sure has. And so in answer to the original question, I would just encourage young songwriters to do workshops. Incidentally, I'm going to be hosting a songwriting workshop the second weekend in May. And I have Mike Reno from Loverboy, singer from Loverboy, doing the keynote speech. I've got a bunch of other hit songwriters that are going to be teaching the art of songwriting. Having said that, though, YouTube is an invaluable tool for learning not just how to play stylistically all kinds of different styles of music, but the art of songwriting as well. So in this specific time we find ourselves in, I would say, grind away on 2-3 hours a day on whatever stylistic genre you find yourself in. Immerse yourself. Just learn, as and I like how you emphasized being open and educating, because we are always, if you're open, we're always learning and growing. And they're really, in terms of limitations, you're the individual that will place those upon yourself. And with the access that we have right now to virtually almost anything that passes through our transom, we can learn an awful lot. And I always say to young instrumentalists that are starting, if you even allocate 15 to 30 minutes a day, imagine how much further you will be in a month from now, right? So, because our attention spans are seem to have diminished in the last decade. Even if you apply yourself for 15, 20, 30 minutes every day, you will see exponential growth. And that's in songwriting, that's in whatever instrument you choose, whether it be guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, lead vocals, whatever. You will grow, you will learn. So it still comes down to the concept of, you got to roll up your sleeves. You gotta do a little bit of work. Not a little bit. If you actually really want to thrive and succeed, you've got to. I always say this to the artists that I work with: they have to be working harder than everyone else in the room to
100%.
achieve what their goals are, right? And we're acuity-based animals, right? We aim at things always. We're always aiming at things. So, aim at whatever goal you have. And of course, my being a producer, I'm also and I'm just stating a fact, I'm well connected in the industry. So I know individuals in the different infrastructure part of the industry, from agents to management companies to the labels that still exist, to entertainment lawyers that still and yet broker deals. So that's one of the assets that I offer my artists, is that I do have a network of personal and professional industry individuals to exploit. Because you know what, I'm truly grateful to have been able to exploit my God-given, universe-given talents my whole life, because it's been a remarkable journey thus far, and continues to be.
Well, I know from everybody here at Chattin 88's, Rob, and everybody that has been watching, and of course the replay on YouTube and on our podcast, and as well as on Shaw, you've really given us an insight and a lot of education with your experience, and then a lot of information that new artists and existing artists can make sure that they put forward to their career. And please be sure to send us an email with some links for your workshop that you have coming up so we can continue to promote that as well to our audience and our followers and viewers. And it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for us tonight. The music you have provided, your education. I appreciate you. I honor you. I'm going to reach out to you personally myself. And who knows? Maybe something cool could happen there. Who knows?
Well, thank you so much, Curtis.
We're gonna let you. What's that?
I appreciate the opportunity to expand my audience and my network as well, because it really is about connectivity, and we are all nodes in a network ultimately on this planet. So.
Oh, we're all connected. We all have one. It's whether or not we choose to be a part of it or not. And I know for myself, I don't spend my time aiming. I like to fire and then aim to where I'm going to be putting that bullet to make sure that I am 100% successful every single time. And I know you do the same. Rob, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Chattin' 88s. And thank you so much to your team.
Appreciate
They've been absolutely amazing. And we'll get you to bow out and then we'll finish off the show here, my friend.
Okay. Thank you so much. Great to meet you, Curtis.
Absolutely a pleasure, Rob. Well, my friends, it's been a slice and a half, because you know what? Not only was today my birthday, I had a great opportunity to interview Mr. Rob Laidlaw. And if you just tuned in right now, we'll make sure you follow the repost and listen to our podcast that you can find on Spotify. Thank you so much for joining us, because thank you for tuning in tonight. We had a lovely guest, oh that's right. His name was Robert Laidlaw, that's right. Just because you know that is our show. We'll see you next week on Chattin' 88. Have a lovely evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.